Hello everyone, welcome back to Marriage is Not the End. Today I'm sharing another marriage story that leaves you with very mixed feelings. Honestly, every time I sit in front of this microphone and flip through the letters and submissions sent in from all over the world, I find myself wondering, what exactly is marriage? Is it the graveyard of love, or a battlefield of human nature? Today's story comes from a Chinese-American woman living on the Upper East Side of New York. Her life reads like a real-life Hollywood movie: wealth, beauty, a successful career, and a seemingly perfect husband. But on Valentine's Day, a strange package tore open all the rot and decay hiding beneath the glossy surface of that marriage. This story is a bit long, but every detail is worth savoring. Because you'll realize that some people, and some things, are never as simple as they appear. The whole thing started with a package. It was Valentine's Day. The streets of Manhattan were filled with the sugary scent of roses and chocolate. Our main character, let's call her Emily Chen, was a recognizable name in New York's beauty industry. Her cosmetics company had been booming over the past few years. That afternoon, her assistant walked into the office carrying a stack of delivery boxes. They were all Valentine's gifts sent by luxury brands: an Hermes scarf, a Cartier bracelet, and the iconic little blue box from Tiffany & Company. As Emily opened the gifts one by one, she was already thinking about her plans for the evening with her husband. Her husband, let's call him Jack Chen, was a polished investment professional who ran his own firm on Wall Street. They had been married for 7 years. To outsiders, they were the textbook example of a power couple: beautiful, successful, and perfectly matched. But among all those elegant gift boxes was one package that clearly didn't belong. It was a huge cardboard box with no brand markings. Curious, Emily opened it. The smile on her face froze. Inside the box sat an electric breast pump. Emily stared at it for several seconds. She picked it up and turned it over in her hands, making sure she wasn't seeing things. But she wasn't breastfeeding, she had never even been pregnant. She and Jack had been married for 7 years, and because of their careers, they had decided not to have children yet. So where did the breast pump come from? Who sent it? Or, was it sent by mistake? She immediately called Jack. The phone rang a few times before he picked up. There was some background noise, he sounded like he was in a meeting. Emily got straight to the point. Jack, did you order a breast pump? There was a brief pause on the other end. Then Jack suddenly sounded like he remembered something. Oh, that thing? I didn't buy it. One of my college buddies just had a baby with his wife. He sent me some company documents before. He probably forgot to change the shipping address when he ordered it. Just call him and have him come pick it up. The explanation sounded reasonable. Emily felt slightly relieved, but something about it still bothered her. She looked at the sender information on the shipping label and called the number Jack gave her. A man answered. His voice sounded a little nervous. Oh, yes, sister-in-law, that's me. Sorry about that. I bought it for my wife and forgot to change the delivery address back. If it's okay, I'll have my assistant come pick it up. No problem, Emily said. I can drop it off. I'll be passing by anyway. After hanging up, Emily looked at the breast pump again, then at the phone number listed on the shipping label. That number didn't belong to Jack. And it wasn't hers either. Almost instinctively, she typed the number into her phone's search bar. A few seconds later, the results popped up. The number was connected to a social media account. The profile picture showed a young, attractive woman. And in the bio, it read, Executive Assistant to Jack Chen. Emily's heart sank. She slipped the breast pump into her Hermes bag and drove straight to Jack's company. She didn't go to Jack's office. Instead, she went directly to the assistant's office. The girl's name was Sophia. She had just graduated from business school and worked as Jack's personal secretary. When Emily appeared at the door, Sophia's face instantly turned pale. Emily noticed something else too. Sophia's stomach was slightly rounded, the kind of curve you'd expect from someone about 4 or 5 months pregnant. At that moment, Emily understood everything. But she didn't lose her temper. Instead, she gave Sophia a faint smile. Sophia, you're pregnant and still wearing heels that high? Didn't Jack give you any time off? Sophia instinctively covered her belly with her hand. Her lips trembled as she forced out a smile. Emily. I wasn't planning to keep the baby, really? Emily took the breast pump out of her bag and set it on the desk. Then why does the delivery phone number on this package happen to be yours? Sophia bit her lip so hard it nearly turned white. Tears instantly filled her eyes, making her look pitiful and fragile. Then suddenly, as if she had found a lifeline, she blurted out, Yes. My husband bought it for me. He still wants me to keep the baby. Watching her clumsy performance, Emily found it both amusing and tragic. It was obvious to her that Sophia was just a young girl fresh out of school, ambitious and calculating, but still very inexperienced. She had deliberately put Emily's home address on the package but left her own phone number, hoping to spark a confrontation. If Emily had been the kind of woman who couldn't keep her cool, she would have exploded after seeing the breast pump and rushed home to confront Jack. At that point, Sophia could sit back and watch the chaos unfold, maybe even force Jack to choose between the two of them. Not a bad plan. But Emily didn't expose her. Just as Sophia reached for the breast pump, her wrist turned slightly, revealing a small tattoo on the inside. 2 letters. QS. Emily felt a rush of blood pound in her head. QS. The initials of Qin Shi, Jack Qin's Chinese name. Sophia noticed Emily staring and immediately pulled her hand back, trying to hide the tattoo. Emily raised an eyebrow. Your husband's name? Sophia stammered. It's Qing. Qin Shi. My husband's Chinese name is Qing Shi. Oh, Emily said lightly. Very poetic name. She nudged the breast pump across the desk. Take your package. Sophia grabbed Emily's hand and shook it repeatedly, her voice full of pleading gratitude. Thank you. Thank you for bringing it over, Emily. I'm so sorry to trouble you. Then she quickly retreated into her office. Just before closing the door, she glanced back at Emily. In that look, there was fear. There was resentment. And there was a faint hint of challenge. Emily calmly picked up a cup of coffee and walked toward the HR department. The HR manager, a woman in her 40s, immediately greeted her with an eager smile. Ms. Chen, what brings you here today? Emily had personally promoted this manager years ago, so she didn't bother with small talk. She pointed toward Sophia's office. Tell me about that secretary. The manager instantly understood. She shut the door and lowered her voice. Sophia, honestly, when she interviewed, her performance was pretty average. We didn't plan to hire her at all. But Jack personally insisted on bringing her in, so we had no choice. I've never really understood why he wanted a brand new graduate with almost no experience as his secretary. The executive assistant you recommended, the one with over 10 years of experience, he didn't even consider. And now, only a few months later, she's already pregnant. Emily's hand holding the coffee cup froze. How far along? About 4 months. 4 months. Exactly when Sophia started working there. Emily took a deep breath and forced herself to stay calm. She set the coffee cup down. I see. You can get back to work. When she walked out of the building and sat in her car, her hands were still trembling slightly. She called her personal lawyer, who also served as her executive assistant. Check Jack's recent financial activity, especially any large asset transfers. I want the most detailed report you can find. Less than an hour later, a long report appeared on her phone. Emily opened the first page. Her vision went dark. The trust fund she had set up for her future children, the one inheritance her parents left before they died, the very money that helped launch her career, had been transferred. And the new beneficiary was Sophia. The transfer date? 4 months ago. Emily's mind rang with a dull buzzing. Her hands trembled as she kept scrolling. Then she saw the scanned authorization document. Her signature was on it. Perfectly forged. Even the smallest details of her handwriting were nearly identical. Who besides Jack could have access to her personal seal? Who else could imitate her handwriting so flawlessly? 4 months ago, Sophia had just started working there. And just happened to get pregnant. Was Jack really that impatient? Was he planning to use her parents' money to build a future for his mistress and their illegitimate child? Just then, Emily's phone rang. It was Jack. His voice was as gentle and affectionate as always, without the slightest hint of anything unusual. Baby, I heard you came by the office. Why didn't you come see me? He said lightly. Sophia said you stopped by her office. What's going on? Don't you trust me? He chuckled, sounding almost playful. If you don't like her, I'll fire her tomorrow. She's pregnant anyway. Her husband's been saying she shouldn't be running around at work with a big belly. Listening to him, Emily felt a wave of nausea. She forced a bitter smile. Jack, do you want children? There was a short pause. Well, having kids would be wonderful, Jack replied. But I respect your decision, Emily. If you don't want them, we can stay child-free forever. And if I accidentally got pregnant, she asked, would you want me to keep it? Jack's voice softened even more, almost hopeful. Of course I'd want that. But it's your body. If you're not ready, then we won't. I'll always respect your choice. Remember, you said that. Emily hung up. She didn't go home. Instead, she called her bodyguard. Bring Sophia to the hospital. Now. Immediately. When Sophia was dragged into a private hospital room by 2 large bodyguards, she finally began to panic. She screamed and struggled, clutching the doorframe with all her strength. Emily, please. I'm begging you. This baby really isn't Mr. Cheen's. Please don't hurt an innocent child. Emily walked over and held her phone out to her. Fine, she said calmly. Call your husband. Let him come save you. Sophia shook her head, refusing to take the phone. Then she dropped to her knees with a loud thud and grabbed Emily's legs. Please. My husband is on a business trip overseas. He can't get here. Then call him. As long as he answers and confirms you're his wife, I'll let you go. The last glimmer of hope vanished from Sophia's eyes. Her hands trembled as she took the phone. She dialed a number and pressed it to her ear, her voice shaking with sobs. Honey, can you come pick me up? No, I can't wait. If you don't come now, our baby will be gone. I don't care where you are. Watching Sophia collapse like that, Emily felt a brief flicker of hesitation. She took the phone back and glanced at the number. It was unfamiliar. Definitely not Jack's. An hour passed. The so-called husband never appeared. Emily let out a cold laugh. You just dialed some random number to stall me? Sophia was crying so hard. Her face was soaked with tears and mucus. She crawled forward again, clutching Emily's leg. No. Emily. Please give me a little more time. My husband is really on his way. It takes more than an hour to get here from the airport. Emily said nothing. She gave the bodyguards a look. They immediately stepped forward, one on each side, grabbing Sophia and dragging her toward the operating room. Sophia kicked and screamed wildly, but she was still pinned down onto the gurney. Take her in, Emily said coldly. After the procedure, give her $2 million and tell her to leave New York. Stop. A furious shout exploded from the doorway. Emily turned around. Jack stood there, breathing heavily, one hand braced against the doorframe. His eyes were bloodshot. Jack. Jack, save me. Sophia screamed from the gurney, reaching out toward him. Emily stepped in front of him, blocking his path. What's your relationship with her? She asked icily. Why are you so nervous about me getting rid of her baby? Jack clenched his jaw and took a deep breath, forcing his voice to sound calm. She's an employee of my company. I can't just stand here while you destroy someone's life. Emily nodded slowly. Then she pulled a document from her bag and tossed it into his arms. A divorce agreement. Jack's pupils shrank. Emily, you want a divorce? Jack, she said slowly, our marriage wasn't built on love alone. She looked straight into his eyes. If you really care about her, sign that agreement right now and take her away. Otherwise, return every resource that belongs to the Chu family. Jack froze. Emily continued, her tone flat. And the little thing you did behind my back, the trust fund transfer. I can pretend I never saw it. This is your chance. Whether you take it or not, is up to you. Jack's face went pale. Emily turned to leave, but he suddenly grabbed her wrist. Have you lost your mind? His voice was hoarse. We've been married for 7 years. Why would I divorce you for an employee? His eyes were red. I just didn't want you to cause trouble that might hurt you. Why are you so convinced I'm involved with her? Jack. Sophia screamed hysterically from the gurney, trying to lunge toward him, but the bodyguards held her down. Jack turned his head away, refusing to look at her. Sophia, he said coldly, I'm just your boss. I've already done more than enough for you. On that rainy afternoon, Sophia signed the surgical consent form. As she was pushed into the operating room, her heart-rending screams echoed down the hallway. Emily glanced at Jack. He stood there expressionless. Only his hand, clutching the edge of his suit jacket, was pale from the force of his grip. On the way home from the hospital, Jack brought up the trust fund himself. He explained that he had simply felt sorry for Sophia and wanted to help her. The money in that fund wasn't significant to them anymore. He had kept it from Emily because he was afraid she might misunderstand. Emily sighed. You can help her, she said quietly. But even if only 1% remained, that money still belongs to my parents. Jack froze. The regret and pain on his face were impossible to hide. He apologized over and over, saying he had made a mistake and would never do anything like that again. Emily opened the car door and stepped out. Then she slammed it shut and walked away without looking back. In marriages between powerful families, interests always outweigh emotions. Emily was giving him another chance, but she was also giving herself one. She didn't want a personal dispute to destabilize the business alliance between their families after 7 years of cooperation. But Jack seemed to have changed completely. In the days that followed, Emily never saw Sophia at the company again. The HR manager told her that Sophia had come back once. She knelt outside the company building, begging to see Jack, but his private security team dragged her away. One of her high heels even fell off in the struggle. Jack had stood at the floor-to-ceiling window the entire time, holding a cup of coffee, watching everything below with a blank expression. Suddenly, Jack began texting Emily far more often. The man who used to have every minute of his day scheduled now sent her photos just to show what he was eating for lunch. Even during important business dinners, before the meal started he would turn his phone camera around and slowly pan across the room so Emily could see who was there, especially which women were present, making sure she recognized every one of them. Emily told him he didn't need to do that. He refused. "There's too much misunderstanding between us," he said. "I don't want you to doubt me again. Our marriage might be a business alliance, but what I feel for you isn't just business." A few days later, a share transfer agreement appeared on Emily's desk. Jack had given up all his shares in both family companies. From that point on, he would only serve as a professional manager. That meant that everything he had worked for over the past 7 years now belonged entirely to Emily. Emily was stunned. She called him, but he didn't answer. When she rushed to the office, she found Jack asleep in his chair. Dark circles hung under his eyes. It was obvious he hadn't slept well in a long time. The desk was piled high with business proposals from different companies, each covered with his dense handwritten notes. His schedule was packed so tightly that no 2 appointments were more than 15 minutes apart. And the only blank day circled in red pen had 3 words written on it: Emily's birthday. The HR manager knocked on the door, saw the scene, and immediately covered her mouth and backed out. As soon as the door closed, Emily heard a tired voice behind her. "Honey?" A warm embrace wrapped around her from behind. Jack rested his chin on her shoulder, his voice heavy with exhaustion. "You came to see me? It's okay if you didn't. Just let me hold you for a minute." "Just 1 minute." Emily placed her hand over the arm he had wrapped around her. "Jack, go home and sleep." He stiffened. Then he quickly turned her around to face him, disbelief shining in his eyes. You forgive me?" Emily nodded. After 7 years of marriage, she didn't want everything to fall apart because of someone like Sophia. And lately, Jack's behavior had truly been flawless. She never signed the share transfer agreement. And Jack never asked for it back. For a while, life seemed to return to normal. Not long after that, Emily's company encountered an incredible opportunity, expanding into overseas markets. To succeed internationally, she needed a product powerful enough to compete on the global stage. While she spent day and night in the lab developing skincare formulas suited for international consumers, Jack handed over something extraordinary: the Chen family's core technology, a proprietary formula their family had guarded for decades. Emily looked at him in disbelief. "This is your family's life's work. You're just giving it to me?" Jack shrugged lightly. "That trust fund was your parents' legacy to you. I took it when I shouldn't have. Now it's my turn to make up for it." At that moment, the last defensive wall in Emily's heart collapsed. That night, the two of them clung to each other, dissolving the tension of the past month in the most instinctive way possible. With the support of the Chen family's technology, Emily's new product exploded onto the global market overnight. Media outlets and industry insiders were stunned. How had she created a skincare product suitable for all skin types, while perfectly solving problems like clogged pores and excess oil, issues that had plagued similar products for years? At the press conference announcing the product, Emily gave the speaking opportunity to Jack. "Without my husband, none of this would have been possible," she said with a smile. "So I'd like him to share this honor with me." She stepped aside, letting him take the spotlight. But just as Jack reached for her hand to walk onto the stage together, his phone rang. He glanced at the number. His face changed instantly. In the next second, he shook off Emily's hand and ran out of the press conference. "Jack." Emily tried to follow him, but reporters surged forward, blocking her path. Questions came flying one after another. Cameras flashed non-stop. Journalists and industry competitors stared eagerly, waiting for a reaction. She couldn't leave. If she walked out, it would make her company look completely unprofessional. So she forced a smile and struggled to answer their sharp, and sometimes impossible, questions, all while glancing repeatedly toward the door, hoping Jack would come back and help her. Finally, the doors burst open. But the sight of Jack made everyone gasp. He was covered in mud and rainwater. And in his arms was a half-clothed woman. Sophia. Jack shoved Sophia toward the cameras. Flashbulbs exploded everywhere. He roared toward the microphones, "Emily Chen. Didn't you say you'd let her go? Is this what you meant by letting her go, having someone assault her? If she hadn't just called me, she would have jumped into the river." Sophia's sobs echoed through the hall. The reporters immediately forgot their original questions and rushed toward Emily. "Ms. Chen, did you really do this to this woman?" As a successful female entrepreneur, how could you behave like this? The flashes were so bright Emily could barely open her eyes. Jack stared into the cameras and dropped another bombshell. And that blockbuster product everyone's praising? The core technology isn't hers at all. She stole the formula from Sophia. The entire room erupted. No wonder she struggled to answer the questions earlier. So that's why you assaulted her to silence her? Sophia trembled as she cried. But in a corner no one noticed. When she glanced at Emily, the corner of her mouth curled into a faint, triumphant smile. Jack's voice shook with rage. You think I've been flattering you all this time for nothing? I was just trying to keep you from hurting her. I gave you everything, and you still wanted to destroy her. Suddenly, smack. An egg smashed against Emily's forehead. The yolk slid down her carefully styled hair. The crowd exploded. She doesn't deserve it. Get out. Amid the shouting, people shoved her toward the exit. She stumbled and fell. Cameras broadcasting worldwide captured the humiliating scene as the once glorious businesswoman was pushed out of the venue in disgrace. Jack instinctively shielded Sophia while watching Emily disappear into the crowd with cold eyes. Outside, the wind was bitterly cold. Emily's clothes were stained. Egg yolk dripped down her forehead. She looked through the glass doors at Jack standing under the cameras, holding Sophia tightly in his arms. She clenched her teeth. Fine. If he didn't want power and profit, then she'd give him what he wanted, love. She took out her phone and made one call. Proceed with the full separation of the two companies. The merger between the Chu family and the Chin family had been one of the most talked about events in New York's business world over the past 7 years. Together, their companies had practically dominated the mid to high-end cosmetics market. But when the official separation agreement landed in front of Jack, he smiled. Emily, he said calmly, do you really think I can't survive without you? He leaned back in his chair. Don't forget, the most profitable product you have right now exists because of my technology. Emily actually laughed. So that was why he suddenly seemed so confident. What he didn't know was that the technology wasn't irreplaceable at all. In fact, the day after receiving it, Emily's research team had already developed several alternative methods. They had simply kept using the Chin family system because it was mature and convenient. Jack turned and handed the separation agreement to Sophia. Baby, you sign it. I've already authorized you. Sophia's eyes widened with delight. Sweetheart, you're so good to me. Emily's expression darkened. At that moment she finally understood. The husband Sophia had called from the hospital that day was Jack. Oh, right. Jack tossed another document onto the table. It was a copy of the divorce agreement Emily had once given him. I signed it, he said. And I'm withdrawing authorization for my technology. If you keep selling that blockbuster product, I'll sue you for infringement. Emily picked up both agreements. She smiled tightly. Fine. Then I wish you two the very best. She turned and walked away. Behind her, Sophia's soft voice drifted through the room. Sweetheart, she seems really angry. Of course, Jack said smugly. She only succeeded because of me. Without me, she and her company are finished. So now you're enemies, Sophia asked sweetly. Will you show her mercy? Jack paused deliberately, raising his voice so Emily could hear. Mercy? Of course not. I'll crush her company until it's delisted. Emily stopped for a moment. The smile on her face grew even more sarcastic. Fine. Let's see whose company ends up being delisted. After the company split, the most anxious people were the investors. They had to choose where to place their money. Jack's greatest advantage was his social ability. Emily rarely drank alcohol, so for years Jack had handled most of the negotiations and investor relations. After several rounds of lavish dinners and drinking parties, the investors made their choice. They invested in Jack. Emily's company suddenly faced enormous pressure on its cash flow. Meanwhile, thanks to that massive investment, Jack's new company soared. On the day its stock launched, shares sold out instantly, and the price surged back to the level it had been before the company split. At the celebratory press conference, Jack attended with Sophia. Emily noticed Sophia's belly had grown again. She was pregnant, again. The media immediately turned their cameras toward Emily. Mocking comments filled the room. Did Emily really think Jack was living off her? And she had the nerve to suggest splitting the companies. Who would have thought? After the split, Jack is doing even better. Poor Jack. Having a clueless ex-wife like that, he must have been manipulated for years. He even gave up his shares before. But look now, what were those shares worth? Once he went independent, he completely crushed her. The reporters surrounded Jack and asked for his response. Jack smiled and wrapped his arm around Sophia. To be honest, he said casually, if it hadn't been for saving the failing Chu group back then, I would never have wasted 7 years tangled up with her. Emily's best friend was so furious she nearly stomped the floor. Save the Chew group? Who was the one kneeling in the rain begging you to help him back then? Who used her trust fund to keep him afloat? And now that he's had a few years of success, he's forgotten where he came from? Emily simply smiled and tried to calm her down. That only made her friend angrier. You're really going to let him trash you like that? Aren't you mad? Emily shook her head. He even stole your patent, her friend said, thrusting a document into her hands. This came from someone inside Chew Group. Look at it. Isn't this basically the same formula as your best-selling product? Emily glanced at it. The ingredients and proportions were almost identical, just a difference of a fraction of a percent, plus a few meaningless additives to make the formula look different. This makes me so mad. He's basically living off your work, her friend fumed. I'm going to pay some media outlets to expose him right now. No need, Emily said calmly. Let them publish it. Her friend blinked. Did I hear that right? Have you lost your mind? Emily leaned back on the couch, casually munching on potato chips. If it actually becomes a bestseller, she said lazily, I'll admit I lost. Her friend gritted her teeth in frustration but did as Emily said. On the day the product launched, the friend stormed in again, nearly losing her mind. It's selling out everywhere. We should have stopped him earlier. Emily didn't look worried at all. He hired a bunch of celebrities to promote it through live stream sales, she said. Of course the orders will explode at the beginning. But we can't let him actually make money off this. That formula is your life's work. Emily smiled faintly. Relax. Within a month, all those orders will be returned. Over the next few weeks, Sophia's social media accounts began posting daily. One day it was Hermes, the next day Gucci, then a luxury sports car Jack had bought her. The comment sections were full of envy. Rich queen, please feed us. Mr. Chew is the perfect man. Emily must be losing her mind seeing this. The woman she looked down on is now dripping in luxury, while she's probably eating instant noodles somewhere. At that exact moment, Emily was eating instant noodles. In her lab. Her friend burst in again, practically screaming. Yow yow yow. The orders are really being returned. How is that even possible? Emily swallowed the last bite of noodles. Simple. They thought copying the ingredients and proportions would be enough. They don't understand the technology. Once users start using the product, their skin will break out badly. That's unbelievable. Now those celebrity endorsers are getting attacked online. They've already cut ties with Chew Group, and they're even offering compensation to help users whose skin got damaged. Emily chuckled and dripped a small amount of experimental solution onto the back of her friend's hand. Her friend jumped at first, then her eyes lit up. That smells amazing. And it feels so comfortable. Can I try it on my face? Emily folded her arms. This is my next product launch. What do you think? Meanwhile, Jack was in complete chaos. He couldn't understand why using Emily's formula produced such different results. Instead of improving the product, his first reaction was to convince investors to pour even more money into the company, hoping he could buy back his reputation. But sales collapsed. Even the smallest beauty bloggers refused to promote the product. Within a month, the entire product line was pulled from the market. Meanwhile, Emily's new product launch once again became a global sensation. Jack's eyes turned red with desperation. He called investor after investor, but the people who once toasted with him at lavish dinners now turned their backs. We invested because we thought you had real skills, one of them said coldly. Turns out you're terrible at product development. Let me tell you something. Investments only matter when the product works. If the product is bad, no amount of money can save you. The investors blocked his number. Meanwhile, Emily's company began receiving endless partnership proposals. Those who had chosen Jack when she was at her weakest were now lining up to come back, but they were already too late. In desperation, Jack analyzed Emily's new formula overnight. He realized it was just a slight improvement on the previous one. Immediately, he sued her in court for illegally using his technology. But when Emily presented her new patent certificate, Jack was stunned. That's impossible, he shouted. You said your products couldn't exist without my technology. Emily smiled. Jack, your technology was innovative, yes, but the underlying logic wasn't that complicated. There were plenty of ways to improve it. I used your system before because it was convenient, not because I needed you. Jack nearly ground his teeth to dust. He filed appeal after appeal, claiming Emily had stolen his technology to obtain the patent. The court rejected them all. If we follow your logic, the judge said, then every technology based on previous innovation would count as infringement. Should all technology be banned from use? Emily gave Jack a mocking smile and walked out of the courtroom. A few months later, Jack's company collapsed. One rainy day, he stopped Emily's car and knelt in the street. "I was blind and arrogant, Emily," he said. "Could you give me one more chance?" He handed her a medical report. Sophia's miscarriage. And another document, ***, a divorce agreement ***. Jack's tears mixed with the rain as they streamed down his face. "I'm sorry. I regret everything. I really do." Emily flipped through the documents. They were genuine. Holding an umbrella, she tilted it slightly toward him and raised an eyebrow. "Then we'll see how you behave." Jack's eyes lit up instantly. Soon after, Jack began appearing at high-level business dinners again. Glasses clinked. Old connections were revived. Information about competitors flowed steadily from those tables straight to Emily's desk. Gradually, Emily solidified her position as the top figure in the cosmetics industry. Eventually, Jack was allowed to move back into the house. He worked harder than ever to please Emily. Little by little, she stopped making things difficult for him. Life seemed to return to normal, except this time, they were no longer married. Another Valentine's Day arrived. This time, Emily agreed to spend it with him. She even finished work early to go home and prepare for a romantic evening together. But before she even opened the door, she heard indecent sounds coming from inside. Slowly, she pushed the door open. On the luxurious new bed she had bought, lay a very familiar woman. Sophia. Sophia bit Jack's shoulder, her voice half tearful, half resentful. "You jerk, you didn't contact me for so long. I thought you'd really abandoned me." Jack was breathing heavily. "How could I? Our child died because of her. If I hadn't acted convincingly, our baby would have died for nothing. Don't worry, I promised you I'd make you the envied Mrs. Cheen, and I won't break that promise." Sophia bit her lip, a malicious smile appearing on her face. She'll never guess that the bed she's coming home to celebrate Valentine's Day on tonight has already been our love nest. Bang! The door was kicked open. Cameras flashed wildly. Jack and Sophia scrambled off the bed in shock. Jack hurriedly grabbed a blanket and wrapped it around Sophia, shouting toward the doorway, "Emily, what the hell are you doing? Why are there reporters here?" Emily leaned casually against the doorframe with her arms crossed. Her smile showed no surprise at all. "You really never disappoint me." Within hours, Jack and Sophia's scandal spread across the entire internet. Only then did Jack realize that long before agreeing to spend Valentine's Day with him, Emily had already hired a group of entertainment paparazzi. She had never truly trusted him. And just like that, the perfect scandal had delivered itself right into her hands. The internet exploded. Emily already forgave him and he still cheated again? Any other woman would have kicked him to the curb. Honestly, Emily only kept him for his networking skills. Did people really think a CEO like her was blinded by love? Who invites reporters home unless they're planning something? But wait, wasn't Emily originally the one who interfered with Jack and Sophia's relationship? Maybe Jack had no choice but to pretend to please her. Are you insane? Jack became a complete social outcast overnight. Sophia fared even worse. The same followers who once commented "You're so beautiful, Queen," under her posts were now flooding her page with insults. When she went outside, people sometimes threw rotten eggs at her. No company in the entire industry was willing to hire her. One day, she suddenly appeared in front of Emily. She dropped to her knees, crying uncontrollably. "Emily, I was wrong. I thought you were just a helpless vine living off Jack. My family situation is bad, and I had no choice but to take this path. I didn't mean to offend you like this. Please, be merciful." She handed over a thick envelope and bowed repeatedly until her forehead hit the ground. "These are all documents I collected while working as Jack's secretary, evidence of his financial crimes. Take them. Use them however you want. I'm begging you, just let me live." Emily opened the envelope and glanced through the papers. Then she helped Sophia up. "Of course," Emily said gently. "I can let you go." Sophia's eyes lit up. "Really? Really? I promise, I'll only sue Jack." Sophia was so overwhelmed she nearly knelt again, but Emily stopped her. After thanking her repeatedly, Sophia finally left. But as Emily watched her walk away, her smile carried an unreadable hint of something else. Emily kept her word. She did not sue Sophia. Even the evidence in the documents that implicated Sophia herself, Emily chose not to submit any of it to the court. Instead, she filed charges only against Jack. Embezzlement, illegal misappropriation of company assets, tax evasion. In court, when Jack saw the complete chain of evidence, his eyes turned blood red. 20 years. The best years of his life would be spent in prison. He shouted hysterically at Emily. Emily. It was just a moment of stupidity. Please, save me. I'm begging you. Emily didn't even look at him. After the verdict was announced, Sophia rushed toward Emily, grabbing her hands and thanking her again and again. Thank you for showing mercy, Emily. I swear I'll never try to take anything from you again. Thank you. Before she could finish speaking, blood suddenly spilled from the corner of her mouth. Jack's handcuffed fists had slammed hard into her temple. You bitch, he roared. You're the only one who knew about those documents. How dare you betray me? I should have let you die on that operating table. Sophia's temple was crushed inward from the blow. She collapsed, foaming at the mouth and convulsing violently. The court officers tried desperately to restrain Jack, but he had completely lost his mind. Even the police batons striking his body didn't seem to affect him as he kept kicking and stomping Sophia. You whore! You bastard! If it weren't for you, Emily and I would have grown old together. You ruined my family, and my entire life. There was no other choice. Bang! A gunshot echoed through the courtroom. Jack collapsed to the ground. Sophia was rushed to the hospital. Her injuries were severe. The doctors said she would spend the rest of her life confined to a hospital bed. Lying there, tears streaming down her face, she looked at Emily. You said you would let me go. Why did this happen? Emily shook her head calmly. I did let you go. But he didn't. Sophia's wails filled the hospital room. Emily quietly turned around and left. The past was gone. Only the road ahead remained, bright and wide. And that's the end of today's story. I imagine many of you are sitting in silence right now. Honestly, I don't know how to judge Emily as a person. Some say she's ruthless. Some say she's brilliant. Others believe she was simply pushed too far. But one thing is certain, there were no real winners in this story. Jack lost his freedom, and ultimately his life. Sophia lost her health and dignity. And Emily, what did she truly gain? Through a carefully planned revenge, she proved her intelligence and power. But in the process, she lost something too, her trust in marriage, and in love itself. So, dear listeners, what is marriage, really? Is it truly the end of a story? Or is it just the beginning, a moment that reveals who we really are and how the world truly works? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, Marriage is Not the End. We'll see you next time.